So in 2015, I made a trip to Ghana, in a city called Accra. For I had to take a test, and I was invited to a prayer meeting by friends. The people's I was staying with friends, and they invited me to their prayer meeting. So I went to that prayer meeting, and I ended up making the sinner's prayer. I do not know how, I do not know why, but I just felt that whatever we talked about that night was good enough for me to make that prayer. So I made that prayer that day, and I left Accra, not knowing what I did. I knew I just prayed. People asked me to come to the front and do this prayer, and I just did. So I went back to my country, and a whole year passes. Now we're in 2016. And in between, life happens, all the challenges of life and all the things that can make life challenging. And as you're growing up and you're seeing that this life is getting tougher and tougher every day, because there's more responsibility, there are more things that you need to think about, and and you just feel like you feel overwhelmed. And that's how I felt in 2016. And I had this huge vision on my heart, and today I can say that God laid it on my heart, but back then I did not know. I just had this big vision for my life and what I want my life to be and what I want to do in life. It was a challenge for me to just convey the same energy to the people around me. For example, my parents. Back then I didn't even know it was God that laid it on my heart. So I was having a really hard time, and we were always clashing because I was getting older, and they had this vision for me and I had that vision for me. So my parents' vision for my life was like here, but what I wanted was up there, right? One day we had this argument with my father, and he said really tough things to me, harsh things to me, like you're never gonna make it, you're a failure. I'm gonna wait and see what your future is gonna look like. He was just being really harsh to me, and it hurt. It hurt to the point where I no longer wanted to leave, because my father was my friend. He was my best friend. He was my cheerleader. He's my provider. He was my buddy. He was my friend. So hearing all those things coming from him was really hurtful. Not in a physical sense, but in a deeper sense. Like my soul was being crushed, and I could feel my heart getting hardened, because with time, when you're in such an abusive environment, your heart's starting like hardening, and you want to protect yourself. So that night, it was the argument that was too far, that was too much, and I felt my heart crushed like this. It was like a hardened heart that just went, you know what I mean? And I felt dead. So I was crying, I was bawling, I was angry, I was sad, and I was screaming in the middle of the night. It was 12 a.m. in the morning, but I was not going to let him abuse me that way. So there was a lot of emotion, there was anger, there was sadness, there was like overwhelming, there was a lot. And I was crying, I was screaming, I'm gonna make it with or without your help. Who do you think you are? You're not God. Using God that day, but not knowing what I was saying. But I was all raged up, and I could feel my back against the wall. I could feel like, God, if you don't come here, I'm done, because I've just lost my friend. I could feel that Dad wasn't Dad anymore, because now he was no longer a supporter. He was discouraging me. He was discouraging me. That's the best word I can use. He was turning against me. So as I was crying, I made that silent prayer, and I asked God to come and help. God, if you're real, please come and help, because my helper just bailed on me. I don't know what happened. With with all this, he knows me. He knows that he knows the type of drive I have when I believe in something. So he should know about this. But God was like, well, that was my vision from me to you, not his vision. Of course, he's not going to support you because this is way out of his capacity. He's scared. So I made that prayer, and then God gave me hope. He gave me hope. It's a sensation of everything's going to be fine. Don't worry. Stop crying. I am here. Forget about that. I couldn't understand. I couldn't really fathom what was happening, but the anger and the sadness and the overwhelming and the sense of I've lost everything just changed into tomorrow's gonna be better. I am here. Don't worry. Be cool. Be cool. I'm here, you know? And that's how my walk with Jesus started. That's in my life. And you know, I know how worthy I am in God's eyes for what he did. Oh my God. He gave his life for me when I wasn't even saying yes to him. What type of love is that? You know what I mean? I am so worthy that he was willing not just to die, but to die on the cross. The guy prayed in the garden and he was sweating blood for the sake of me. Who am I? I'm no one. But for someone to love me that much, it must be for a reason. It must be for a reason. And that's where I find my worth. And if I'm worth that much to God, I must be pretty worthy. I must be pretty worthy. So I will not allow even myself to degrade my level of worth. And I will allow no one to degrade my worth, because the one above all loved me that much. So that keeps me going. Even when sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough, because that feeling can creep you out at times. Just show up like, I'm still here. You know? I always tap into that. I'm like, he did this. God did this. Remember this. God did this. Not a friend, not some random person. God did that. So you're worthy.